He was very proud of Camelot and the efforts that he made in it. There were some very difficult things in that musical to do. In addition to the singing, he had to dance. Now, this is a very big guy. And he had to dance, and he had to move, and you know, and the most difficult thing of all for someone like Rock, to wear tights, you know? I mean, this is not an easy thing for a big guy like that to do, to get out on stage in a pair of tights, which was the period kind of stuff with the tunics and things, and where everyone can see your legs, and nothing is covered up, and you got to really know how to do it. So once we got over the kind of the embarrassment of wearing tights and all of that, because that was a little tough on him, you know, he went on to do, he did wonderfully in it. I think movie stars can get that sort of feeling of isolation because they go to a studio, they shoot, they go home. But when you're playing in front of that many people, it was really something for Rock, because he would walk out and you could literally feel the waves of affection come across those footlights to him, and he just, it always was a very lifting experience for him, because the public loved him. And they were with him all the way. Even when he couldn't sing all that well, they were with him all the way.
Camelot, and how much he loved doing that. And, you know, when you'd go in his house, he'd have all the Broadway shows and all the albums done, and his performances and the music that he used. And he always had a piano, and, you know, because that was the things that he had to work so hard for. And I think that he was of the belief that if you didn't have to work really hard and it wasn't a stretch for you, that it wasn't of quality.
Okay.
Go along with me.
I've already failed the first part.
Or this one.
Better on that one.
Here's another one.
When do you ever use your voice like that?
Quite often.
Really? Holding your tongue and doing your E's.
He never gave the same performance. No good actor ever would either, you know. It was different for him every night. The greatest problem he had in Camelot was that speech that closes the first act. That was the only part of the script that he was terrified of. But it's what he did best. It was his best moment in it.
Proposition. I am a king, not a man. And a civilized king. Could it possibly be civilized to destroy what I love? Could it possibly be civilized to love myself above all? What of their pain and their torment? Did they ask for this calamity? Can Paxton be selected? Is there any doubt of their devotion to me or to our table? By God, Excalibur, we shall be a king. This is the time of King Arthur, and we reach for the stars. This is the time of King Arthur, where violence is not strength, and compassion is not weakness. We are civilized, resolved. We shall live through this together, Excalibur. They, you, and I. And God have mercy on us all.
Rock had a real affection for Southern Methodist University. And so Southern Methodist University had a film archive. And so this event was planned which would raise money for the film archive. And we had brought in the Marfa, Texas High School Marching Band. I hadn't told Rock that they were part of the evening. So I brought Rock into this tent, and it was an extraordinary moment because when Rock walked in the tent, those kids, they all came up to him, and they wanted to touch him, and they wanted to shake his hand, and they all yelled and screamed, and some of them blew their trumpets, and Rock stood there and got very big tears in his eyes. That was a very big moment for him, I think.
When Rock appeared on 9 episodes of Dynasty in the fall of 1984, people noticed how thin he looked, and he dismissed it as dieting. At the Golden Globe Awards with Liza Minnelli and Elizabeth Taylor, it was becoming evident that he was ill. He made his last television appearance as Doris Day's first guest on Doris Day's Best Friends.
What was your favorite movie?
Oui.
What was my favorite?
Mm-hmm.
I think I like Pillow Talk.
Pillow Talk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
No, I liked I Stayed in Zebra.
You rat.
He felt a very great loyalty to his fans, which I think underlies a lot of his behavior through the years, of keeping his personal life very personal and his public life very public.
An actor's a fool if he lets the public know too much about himself. The great Henry Irving said, "I cannot convince a man I'm Hamlet if I was telling jokes with him in a bar 10 minutes before I come on stage." It's better if the public doesn't know anything about you. Then they can believe what they see on the screen.
Even Rock in his private life, he was very private.
Maybe we'll talk about AIDS one day like we talked about polio. But until then, I mean, it's a role that he would have chosen, I'm sure, not to play. I think the reason that Rock Hudson had the impact that he did on the world in regards to AIDS and regards to the gay community in AIDS was because that the human race, even after they found out, the American public, that he was gay, could not stop loving him. They loved him too much. It would be like a mother whose son came home and said, "Mom, I'm gay," and she couldn't accept it, and he said, "But I'm dying of AIDS," and found herself 6 months later with a whole different relationship with her son and still loving him. But all of a sudden, a man that we all really loved, and you couldn't take it away. You can't just say, "Oh, now he's gay. I never liked those films, and I never liked..." They already loved him. They already loved him so much. And I just think that, you know, that in a way it's terrific that his life had so much meaning that he never probably knew or intended to have in his life. But on the other hand, it should be completely separated from his work.
I think that his death did a great service in a very strange, sad way. That is, it put AIDS up there. People began to think about it and talk about it. He helped a great many people that way. But it was so sad and so tragic.
The dream ended. Rock died of AIDS at his home on October the 2nd, 1985. He was 59 years old. Shortly after his death, on her show, Doris gave a loving tribute to Rock.
Hello. I'm happy that you could be with us today. Although our show is very young, an awful lot has happened since we started filming a few months ago. The first thing we did was and he said, "I'll be there. You can count on me." And that was the truth. All his friends, and there were so many, could always count on Rock Hudson. Not only was he a very talented dramatic actor, as we all know, his favorite thing was comedy. And he always said to me, "The best time I've ever had was making comedies with you." And I really felt the same way. We had a ball. And I feel that without my deep faith, I would be a lot sadder than I am today. I know that life is eternal and that something good is going to come from this experience.